and then that's exactly same structure that we define. The container names that we define environmental variable, the container names, and also we define some the variables, the parameter, our image created, which image we need to be created, which image need to be linked with the link to the Spring Boot application, which version it is labeled. We can also put it like the simple the application version number. We can label it here or make a placeholder with that one. We are Docker files, and it has set up all the environmental variable settings, and its application port is running 2021 as a container port is the 8080, and we are using the environmental variables, that's the environmental file locations, environment files. There's a lot of possibility. You can define the external environmental files. So it has a network definition. It depends on the database. So that means when you run the Spring Boot application, it's depend on the before creating the running the Spring Boot application, it will create the backend server first, the service, the Postgres database versions, and it need to be installed. After the database installation is done, then run the Spring Boot applications with the respective versions. So it's really straightforward, very easy, and it has a depend on the user registration, the information, and then user registration profiles, and then so on and so forth. And then you can see the user registration Flyway, the volumes definition, user registration networks, and then all the networks done. So that means we define all the configuration Docker Compose files, and we create the user registration profile, the versions, just like simply go to the user directory and with the path of your applications. Maybe we can try. I will show you the copy path. So we can copy path. How can we create the generous? We can open the PowerShells with the administrative commands. As you see, the two processes running exactly in the Docker desktop. You see our applications, what we're expecting. The application is running what we are doing, what we were expecting the applications. So we can go to the Postman to check the application, what we are expecting. So you see the localhost 8080 and localhost 2021. That's we are expecting. This is the number of applications. And then it's a Swagger UI. That's we are expecting the Swagger UI is also coming properly. That's with the respective version that we configure into the Swagger UI. So it's loading the Swagger UI configurations, and then we can see the Postman is everything is properly handled or properly tested. You check it like that way. So we see our older versions. We can see this is our older ports. Then we can set it globally. That's we already discussed. And those are new into my channels that follow the previous one, then you can get the clear idea how can you configure globally those things. So we application 2021. 2021, and then here 2021. So and we can simply save it, and then it just simply run the informations that's you set it. Just that's why I say it is globally set the environmental variables, and then everybody, you can export the test cases, then import the test case. The testing team, they run the same test, is only simply change the IP address and port number of this. So application should be up. You see the actual information what we were expecting, and then also you can check it like health information of the application. So it says it should up, and then we can check it like the application is up. We can check it also the Swagger UI doc that's we are looking for. So you can see the Swagger API docs. Oops, it's take times. So you see the Swagger API, exactly the OpenAPI 3. It has information, title of the service, and the description, and then terms, and then all the URL informations and then all things of what you configure and how all the information, the service endpoint information, you request response type and URL path of the information. So this is really good description about your REST API documentation or the document generation with the Swagger UI. I found really good tools for Swagger UI with that one. So let's have a check. There is some record into the database level in the back in the server define into the our service definition, and then oops, so you see there is nothing there. So we can make one record from the Postman. We will do the same test with that. So we can hit it. So exactly the same URL definition that we are looking for, the URL, the APIs, and that's what in the control definition what it did. So controller the definition, you see if I go back to the controller, that in the controller is the registration controller, you see the information like API user registration controller, and exactly what is showing here, the user registration, create user registration controller. You see the one of the user created, that's the first user 200, what you define in the sequence. We can hit more, so hit more, so 2 3 4, maybe 4 created, 4 user created. Now we can check it like the get the user properly. So you see the 4 user is coming, what we expecting, what is we did it here. So let's check, let's create one of the user role out of maybe 200 201 maybe, or 200 depending. And so we can create the user role as like I said the user role definition. So you see the user role definition 100 sequence 101 102 and 103. So it has three role definitions. So let's check is the database level is properly coming, or is data is properly coming into the your database levels. So you see all the logs information into what is doing in the database level, and every interactions. So when last interaction was to insert the data, I see the Hibernate create the sequence, the user registration role tables is injecting the values of this one. So let's go back to the into the database level. It is database level, is everything is there. So what we can see, the Docker processes, we can say docker execute, and then interactive mode, and pass the container IDs. So you can container ID, then minus PSQL. I believe it's PSQL. I forget the PSQL. Then you can pass the user Postgres. And also I write down wrong. Sorry. Oh, today's everything is slow. Poo. Okay, what's wrong here? So okay, then we can quit it again, the docker exec and interactive mode. Oh no, we need to be docker processes. We take it the docker processes first and then we pass it like docker container, and then we can see here the PSQL. What's wrong? So user ID is there, application is running properly. Why it is not executing the commands? Let's check the log information, the application's log information. We can, okay, that's PSQL. So let's have it checked. So we see the PSQL, as I write down wrong information. So we can see the PSQL, the plus, and then we can see all the information, all the database information that we have, all the history informations, the connectivity information.